everything from spiritual matters to what matters to you. So join me at 4 p.m. every Saturday. I'll be waiting to hear from you.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
You are listening to Connections, a place to learn about and celebrate creative approaches to healthcare, education, and wellness. Each week, we explore new ways that creativity can reach and connect individuals in all stages of health and wellness. Join us as our host, Bree Gordon, board-certified music therapist and managing partner with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute, interviews professionals, volunteers, and community members from healthcare and educational backgrounds. If you are at home or near a computer, you can join us via live streaming video at facebook.com/connections by Aria. We hope you enjoy the program and find new ways to bring the joy of creativity into your life and the lives of those you love. Hello, thank you so much for joining us this evening. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon, board-certified music therapist here in beautiful sunny South Florida with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. If you're checking us out for the first time, we're so glad you found us. Thank you so much. Just to give you an idea of what you can expect from the next hour today, as always, I have to just express gratitude for the fact that I have this opportunity, that for 1 hour a week, I get to shine a spotlight on some incredible people in our community and beyond, professionals, volunteers, caregivers, members of our community that are just doing exceptional things that maybe other members of the community don't know exactly what's going on. And I'm inspired by this, again, because of my job, and how this whole thing came about is when people would share with me, what is it that you do? I see you carrying a guitar around. I see you working in a hospital, working with kids. What is a music therapist? And I get really excited about that question, and it just kind of grew from there of thinking there are so many incredible people that we get to meet every single day doing amazing things to help reach, connect, and comfort individuals throughout our community. And I want to get to know them. And not only do I want to get to know them selfishly, but I want to share them with all of you. So today is no exception of that. So I cannot wait to introduce you later on in the program to my guest today, Roy Assad. He's just, first of all, just an incredible person. And I'm sitting across from him right now. And I just have to say that even being in Roy's presence, I'll tell you what, it really makes you want to say yes to opportunities. Just, you ever been around a really positive person that maybe they don't even have to open their mouth yet? and just being around them makes you feel like open to opportunities, like you have the confidence to do something. Do you have someone in your life like that? Don't you love people in your life like that just encourage you and support you? I think it's so vital. And if you didn't get to hear our conversation last week with Yulia and Alexa, that's what we were talking about. We feel very fortunate to be young and young women entrepreneurs. The three of us were sharing around the table last week to be in the position we're in, to be in the position we're in, to be chasing our dreams and to have left maybe corporate atmospheres that just weren't a great fit for us. But it's not something you can do alone. It's something that you really need the support of others to do. It takes personal strength and it takes personal development, but also just being open to these opportunities to connect with other people. We talked a lot about the value of networking and really recognizing some amazing opportunities that can come from just showing up, from just putting yourself out there, for kind of stepping away from screens, as I have like 3 screens pointing at me right now, poor example. But you know what, just even challenging ourselves a little bit to go outside of that comfort zone. And that's what Roy and I are going to talk about a lot today. And from what I understand, I'm going to learn a lot today, but from what I understand from just my limited chance I've gotten to connect with him so far, is that is a focus of him, of kind of getting out of that comfort zone, of saying yes, of being open to these opportunities, and trying something new, the value of trying something new. In my work as a music therapist working with seniors with neurodegenerative disorders, I'm a big fan of trying something new. I work a lot with seniors who are in their 80s, 90s, even centennials, and I'm shocked when I, get to be with these individuals, and sometimes I pull out my big African drums and my Latin drums and all these things, and I say, I've never done that before. Say, let's give it a try. And people in their later years, and I'm talking, again, 80s, 90s, 100, are trying something new, are learning something new. The music is familiar. The idea of rhythm is familiar. It's very connected to some of their earliest memories and their strongest memories from their late 20s and early 30s and really joyful times. But the concept of trying a new instrument, going out of their box, is brand new to them, and they're open to it. And the joy that I get to see on their faces, it's just, it is so incredibly rewarding. And I know it's a cliche, but it just reminds me that you're never too old to learn. So if you're listening today, that's a takeaway that I want you to have from today's program. Maybe you are, still in a corporate situation, but feeling that itch to maybe kind of make a change and become an entrepreneur. Maybe you're at those beginning stages. Maybe you're at the later stage of your career looking to make a change or just kind of revitalize the energy that you have to give to the company you're currently with. Whatever stage you're in, or in retirement, or as a grandparent thinking of new ways to be excited and engaged, I want you to remember that. I want you to take that away from today. You're never too old to learn. I'm telling you, if someone who is living with a disease that is actively attacking their brain in their 90s is still open to saying yes and giving all they have and giving all the energy and joy they have to participate in something new, come on. I mean, that inspires me every day. That they say yes to me, what an honor. That just pumps me up for my whole day to say yes to opportunity. And I really believe, that's why I'm sitting here. That's why I have the opportunity to talk to all of you. That's why I have the opportunity to run my business and speak to people, because I was open. It's certainly not perfect all the time, right? Everything is a journey. We're all learning. So here's an example, because I am also speaking to myself, as I always am on this show. I do not have all the answers, trust me. I think sometimes selfishly, I just feel like I'm in like a therapy session here in this studio that just several other people get to watch, because I love this. I learn so much from everybody who comes on the show. And, I don't know if you want to call this ironic or serendipitous, as we're going to talk about in a little bit here today, but tomorrow I plan to try something new. While I have had many years of performing and have sang opera and arias in 4 different languages in recital halls and the national anthem at professional sporting events, for some reason I have not brought myself to playing at an open mic at a public setting. I would do it with friends. I would sign up if someone else would do it. I'd go to support other people, but for some reason that was just like a disconnect for me. Like, I don't know if I'm good enough for that. I don't know why. We all have those things, right? I'm not really sure what I'm afraid of, but I'm just kind of drawing the line there for some reason. So I've decided, maybe it's this week, maybe it's in anticipation for our conversation today, but I've decided this is something I'm going to do tomorrow. So I never practice stuff. I'm a music therapist. We never know what we're walking into. We wing it. I actually practiced this week. This is very rare. It's very rare. Again, I don't know what's gotten into me this week, but the song that I chose to prepare to do tomorrow, and now I'm being held accountable and I really have to do this, is a song called Human. Okay, so my guest today happens to be here and works with the Human Capital Group. Okay, again, there are no accidents in life, right? I was meant to put myself out here. Here's another thing. I admit that when I do music on this show, I pick very simple songs. I pick songs with small ranges, with a few chords, and very simple strum patterns. This is not one of those songs. So bear with me as I show a little bit of vulnerability, go out on a limb, try something new, in anticipation for facing a fear tomorrow, to bring you a song, a cover by Christina Perry called Human. I can hold my breath I can bite my tongue. I can stay awake for days if that's what you want. Be your number one. I can fake a smile. I can force a laugh. I can dance and play the part if that's what you ask. Give you all I am. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. But I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. Only human, and I crash and I fall down. Words in my head, highs in my heart. You build me up and then I fall apart. So I'm only human. I can turn it on. Be a good machine. I can hold the weight of worlds if that's what you need. Be your everything. I can do it. I can do it. I'll get through it. But I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. Only human, and I crash and I break down. Your words in my head, knives in my heart. You build me up and then I fall apart. Only human. Only human. Only human. Just a little human. I can take so much till I've had enough. 'Cause I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. Only human, and I crash and I fall down. Words in my head, knives in my heart. You build me up and then I fall apart. So I'm only human. All right, it's out there. I'm accountable. I did it. I faced my fears. My charge is to you to try something new, to face your fears. By the end of this hour, it's impossible you will not feel empowered to do so. Stick around. We come back. Can't wait to introduce you to Roy Assad from Human Capital Group. Stick around. Are you a music therapist or part of the music therapy community? If so, we're excited to announce Aria. Aria is a mobile app that provides tools, resources, and community for today's modern music therapist. You can plan, implement, and share music therapy interventions with the community, keep track of your schedule and contacts, and learn from other members in our community section. Best of all, Aria is free. Visit arianow.com to get started today. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals, and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I am your host, Bree Gordon, and I am so excited to introduce to you today Roy Assad from the Human Capital Group. Roy, thank you so much for being here.
I am delighted to be here.
It's a pleasure, and I think your ears were probably ringing last week when we had Alexa and Yulia on, and we were singing your praises, getting everyone excited.
I was actually watching on Facebook Live.
Thank you so much.
Yes, that was fun.
You remind me to bring up something. If you are joining us on 95.3 FM or 1470 AM and you're home, safe, not driving, check us out on Facebook Live. Not only do we have the live video stream going on there at facebook.com/connections by Aria, but if you miss any part of this program or you have to step away, everything is archived there, as well as past shows like the one we've been mentioning last week. So I'm just going to cut right to the chase, right? What is it about your presence, about being around you, that makes people maybe step out of their comfort zone a little bit?
That's a left hook. Well, let's put it this way. I think the most attractive people are people who are completely present, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the majority of us have got so much on our minds, even when we're with our loved ones and our kids and our partner, or in the setting of a client, and we have so much going on. And when you're not able to be completely present to someone, you're no longer giving them yourself. You're no longer being, whole. And that usually becomes less attractive. So I've been practicing to be present at they say wherever you are, be all there. I don't know if you heard of that before. So wherever I am, I try to be present to whatever I am with, whoever I'm with, or whatever I'm doing. And I think that kind of helps a little bit.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, and you watched last week, so you heard what we were sharing about you, and I think all of us at the table were impressed by that. Not to make you uncomfortable, but just we really were. That not only we were excited, you knew who all of us were, right? In our own situation, we felt nervous to approach. We tend to do that, right? That person doesn't want to hear from me, whether it's a speaker or a legislator or a boss or a client, whatever it is. We build up that fear, and to be so embraced by someone, it's a special feeling, because I think you're right that we're not totally irrational in that fear. A lot of times people are too busy.
Right.
So I know that you work with, and we'll expand on this later, with your clients on being in that moment and making the most of those interactions.
Yeah, and bringing the best out of them, because they already have it.
Yeah.
As you know, it's all within us. It's just that it's been kind of muddied.
Yeah, I agree totally. Backing up a little bit,
Yes.
Would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and how you came to be in this arena, in this work, and knew that you wanted to help others?
Well, first of all, it was never something I thought I would ever be in. I was, through my youth, I was involved in selling insurance products, and I became very successful in doing that. And in being successful, they asked me to go and speak in front of audiences, specifically people who are in the insurance business.
Okay.
And when I spoke to audiences, the audience related to what I was saying, and they would come up to me after the speech and say, "Oh my God, I got to talk to you. Can you help me through my career? Can you do this?" So I began to consult with people on helping them get a better sales ability or business development skills or relationship building skills. And as I'm helping them, I've learned that they have a lot more issues than just sales. There were issues at home.
Sure.
There were issues in their lives and in their relationships. And so I began to give them what I would call straightforward advice and helping them kind of be accountable to saying, well, how long are you going to tolerate, for example, not speaking to your mother for 5 years? What could be so bad? Why can't we fix that? And when they went out and actually created these breakthroughs in their personal lives, their business life took off. So it was kind of all related, as you can see it. It's all connected anyway.
Absolutely.
So that's how I got into it about 15 years ago.
Okay.
And initially, I was doing it almost for next to nothing. And eventually, I figured, well, if this is going to become my career, I had to be, charging for it. And then,
Right.
of course, I got further education and licensing and all that stuff.
What kind of continued education, licensing? What kind of how do you seek out something like that, a program like that? What does that look like?
It is so available today.
Yeah.
There's the International Coach Federation. There's Coach U. There's a lot of organizations out there, IPEC, that actually either certify you in different modalities of how to coach people and or certify you in different assessments and or give you credit hours. But of course, the learning now is so easy. The internet is full of knowledge. If somebody wants to learn, they will find a way,
Sure.
right? It is so accessible. And a lot of it is free. You don't really have to
Wow.
pay a lot of money. But the most expensive learning is the experience,
Sure.
which means have you failed and learned how to get back up? Have you screwed up and figured out how to apologize for it? Have you gotten in debt and got out of it? Have you hired people and fired people? You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that actually add to my repertoire is because I've had so many businesses. I've had the opportunity to learn on the ground what it takes to meet payroll, what it takes to fall behind, and what it takes to fail, and then what it takes to get up and go back at it.
That's so valuable. These are real life. I'm sure if anyone is listening today that has any experience with starting or owning or managing their own business, these are very real things. And I think it's so valuable that you're sharing that you've gone through them,
Yeah.
and that you're at this point where you're helping others, but it's not from a perspective of, I've always had everything right and follow my path. Right. But there's so much value in that, I think.
Right.
Again, to reference last week, like we were talking about, Alexa and Yulia sharing that they were never comfortable talking in front of people.
Right.
And look at what they're doing now.
Right.
I think there's so much to that when you say to someone, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm human as well, right? And being upfront about here are the challenges that I've gone through. So
Right.
kudos to you for being that vulnerable and sharing that. I'm sure that makes a big impact on people.
It does.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we talked a little bit about, some of the educational opportunities to become a coach, but there's got to be so much more to it than an educational component. I imagine you have to be a certain type of person to be kind of in touch with others. Like you said, you really have to work on being present in the moment. You're observing, I'm guessing, what their patterns are,
Right.
and being able to take that in and reflect upon it
Right.
to see that again, it's not just what's going on in business.
Right.
Looking at the total picture.
You have to care.
Yeah.
If you don't love people and care about people, you should not be a coach. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if you truly care about people and you take it so seriously, and that when you're hired or retained by someone to change their life or launch their career or take them to the next level, you have to adopt these people in a sense.
Yeah.
And I take it so seriously. It is a lot of pressure on the coach to make sure that their value is felt after even the first session. It's not something you want to take weeks and months before you get the difference,
Right.
So it's a beautiful responsibility, but as you said about learning, every time you're here, you're learning. Every time I'm with someone I'm working with, I am learning,
Sure.
just as they are learning. So we're
believe
learning
that.
about each other. We're learning what works and what doesn't work. It's phenomenal. It's a beautiful opportunity.
Absolutely. And I love that you look at it that way. I understand, being in a helper profession and in a giving field, it's important that we check in with ourselves as well, right? And you say it's a beautiful responsibility, which it is, but how do you balance that within your own personal life and kind of maybe set up those boundaries or take care of yourself as well?
Well, I'll admit right on the station that I am not that balanced. Although they say work-life balance is a little bit overrated. However, I do believe in taking care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of others?
Right.
So I do have time to reflect. I do have time to have fun on my own. I enjoy eating out, so I'm almost always eating out. I enjoy fellowship. I am not meant to be alone, so I'm constantly with someone for lunch, for dinner, for breakfast, just kind of chatting. And even if I'm on my own, I'm able to watch TED Talks. So I'm constantly feeding myself information so that I can be more powerful, more useful, more knowledgeable. And you got to grow. If you don't grow, you're really dead in the water.
Right. I agree totally. For someone who is not as familiar with this idea of of coaching. It's a step beyond mentoring, correct? I mean,
Totally. Yeah.
and I know that you both do the executive level of coaching, also life coaching. So just in general, what does that mean? And then what are the difference between the two?
Well, mentoring is more about ideas and bouncing like a sounding board. We're not a sounding board.
Okay.
Now, I have to also make sure everyone knows that a certified coach from the International Coach Federation cannot tell, per se, a client what to do. I do.
Okay.
I actually take a brick, hit him on the head, say, what the heck are you thinking? So that's not acceptable in the Coach Federation language. However, I'm more coach consultant. I'm about, I want to get things done. I don't want to make you feel better, although I would like to. I don't want to take forever to get to point B from A.
Yeah.
I want to get there fast, as you want.
Right.
So we try to really kind of challenge the person we're with to get going and hold them accountable to some of the decisions they need to make in order to really change their lives, whether it's personal or business.
Right. Right. I believe accountability is probably a big part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, just like I said, even saying in front of, even if it's just my mom and grandma watching tonight, you put it out there, right? You put it out there for other people to hear. You are held to that, and I think that as we try to grow, responsibility, like you mentioned, needs to be a big part of that, and it doesn't just exist in my head anymore. I think that's got to be huge to have someone to share that with, and I'm sure you're checking in with these people and checking in with their goals and how they've achieved them. So what does that look like if you're coaching someone?
Well, the first thing when we work with people, we have to figure out their past. Not that we're in therapy. We don't do therapy. We're not licensed to do therapy. But sometimes the past is pretty much dictating what the future looks like. So meaning my experiences and my roadblocks and my failures, even my success has some sort of an impact on my future. So we initially try to figure out where they've been so we can help them get past it. Because you got to get done and complete with that.
Yeah.
You cannot let that keep bugging you or impacting you or invading your present.
Right.
So we get them really complete as far as their past is concerned. Then we identify what is it you want to achieve. What do we want to achieve and how much of it do you want to achieve? And then we figure out the way between point A and B. And that's when we put strategies in place and tactics, and we help them kind of implement these things between the meetings. So for example, if I have a client who I'm meeting with twice a month, every 2 weeks there's homework for them and there's homework for me, and they're getting these things done and they're sending them over and I review and we talk. And then when we meet again, we're moving forward. We're constantly moving forward. And that dynamic and the energy that you get from moving forward is just unmatched. I mean, it changes your outlook on life.
For sure. And I can see that there's got to be a value to having that structure too.
Yeah.
Especially for your clients, they don't feel like they're just kind of venting or maybe as they might identify as a friend, as a mentor, and just, like you said, a sounding board, but really, like you said, having that homework. I mean, actually having to complete it, having someone who's going to check that to complete it. There's so much to that.
Right.
I mean, yes, we do that as kids, but it's valuable as adults as well, right?
Totally.
For sure. I don't know how the heck it's 6:30 already, but we got to cut to a quick commercial break. Stick around when you come back. More with Roy Assad. Are you a music therapist or part of the music therapy community? If so, we're excited to announce Aria. Aria is a mobile app that provides tools, resources, and community for today's modern music therapist. You can plan, implement, and share music therapy interventions with the community, keep track of your schedule and contacts, and learn from other members in our community section. Best of all, Aria is free. Visit arianow.com to get started today. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com, engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections, If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon, here with the always inspiring Roy Assad. Again, thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here.
I love how this whole month has kind of laid out. Started with Yulia and Alexa, got you this week, got Steve Noodleberg next week. It's like, I love going to these creative mornings and just like learning about what everyone's doing and say, okay, so I've got 5 minutes to talk to you. How would you like to talk for an hour? It's so great. How did you actually get connected with Creative Mornings?
Actually, I met Yulia. I was doing a mastermind for the Delray Chamber, and they put out an announcement that if any entrepreneur wants to get into the mastermind, they had to fill out an application and pay a small fee. Mm-hmm. And she was one of those applicants, and she became a member or a part of this mastermind that was a full year's work of meeting monthly.
Oh, wow.
And I was leading this mastermind, and she was in that mastermind. So I immediately, when I met her, I knew that she was going to be up to something amazing. Mm-hmm. So I met with her on the side, like in a separate meeting, and I decided to start coaching her. And basically, she just exploded from then on.
That's awesome.
She is very dynamic.
Yes.
She's a go-getter. Mm-hmm. She is giving. And it takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. It's not for everyone, but everyone can make it. Right. So I don't think we should leave anyone with any doubt that they can be an entrepreneur. It's just that it's not for everyone. You can always be one if you want to.
Very cool. We love you, Yulia. On that track, I want to kind of speak specifically to the executive coaching. How have you seen it affect the success of the companies? I know you're working with individuals, but what are some things that you've noticed along the way in different stages? I'm sure you're working with people at the beginning of their career, the middle, and the end. What are some things that you've observed?
Well, there are times when I'm working with a C-level executive. That is a human, a man or a woman who's leading a team. Mm-hmm. They're responsible for maybe 500 people or 200 people that are direct reports to them. So we work with them on leadership. We work with them on how to really transform a team because they say a team is nothing more than a group of people who got together because they were hired and they never met.
Right.
But what makes them a team is different than what makes them a group. So the first thing we teach an executive or a CEO or somebody who's got a lot of people to lead is really the art of leadership. Mm. And a lot of them do not really realize that it's not about putting fear in their team. It's more about giving hope to their team. And they say the definition of a leader is a dealer in hope. Because people really thrive in an environment or a culture that allows them to feel they are part of something. They're not working for someone. They're working with someone. Mm-hmm. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And if you can make your team feel that way, they will give you so much more than you're paying them for. They really would.
I do follow Simon Sinek at all. And so he talks a lot about, management when it comes to millennials, right? Which my team is entirely. I'm like the oldest person in my group at 30. So I am a millennial, but I have had to learn how to speak to other millennials, and I still am. So this idea of what you're saying is, this you need to instill this hope. That's huge in my generation.
Yeah.
I mean, because we really do have the heart for wanting to change the world. And I think the frustration there lies with, but it didn't happen yesterday, and I'm frustrated. What am I doing wrong? I want it now.
Right.
That is the biggest challenge, that I think that I face in my leadership role is almost encouraging the long game.
Yeah.
And in that investment in a career and a job. Is that something that you see a lot of in your work?
Yeah. So, if you remember back in the days when we were in school, sometimes a teacher, one human, inspired you. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you saw things so differently. Mm-hmm. You loved being in that class. And there's this other teacher who was so boring and not so inspired. He or she was they were even feeling like, I don't even know why I'm here. Mm-hmm. And those students did not thrive in that environment. So a great leader is somebody who can actually walk in and instead of feeling that they own these employees, that they're there to launch them. Mm. Their responsibility is not to keep them.
Yeah.
See, this whole thing about working 60 years for somebody doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Our responsibility is to take people, inspire them, and launch them. And if you can do that with people, people will be knocking on your door to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
love
they'll
that.
never leave. Yeah.
I'm coping with a situation where I have a phenomenal therapist, Alicia. I love you, and you know, making a choice for family and she's leaving us, and I'm having trouble letting go of her. Tell her story on the
Not
air.
easy,
Sorry,
yeah.
Alicia. She's so fabulous. I mean,
It's a bittersweet
sat
feeling.
in with her today, and I just said, please just promise me that wherever you go, whatever you do, you keep doing the work you're doing, because I can't wait to hear about the things you do.
The next thing for you, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Right.
it is
Totally.
it is bittersweet because I know she has such a fabulous, incredible career ahead of her. And I'm sad it's not with me, but I feel very joyful to have been part of that journey.
Right.
So,
It's a beautiful thing to be a leader
yeah,
if
it
you
is.
really practice it well. you
Yep.
know.
Yep, I agree. What is, and maybe this is kind of hard to nail down, so you may have a few answers to this, but what is the number one or at least the top things that you find leaders are seeking from you? It may not be exactly what they really need, but what they think is the answer that they reach out to you and seek of.
Number one, communication.
Okay.
Most of us get so busy. We're caught up in emails. We're caught up in responding by email. We forget about this face-to-face meeting. So I help most leaders to connect. So with this connectivity on the level, face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball. And also the next thing that they struggle with is decision-making. The most successful leader is the one who makes decisions, not the one who's stuck.
Yeah.
When we get stuck and we're no longer making decisions, we're actually weighing in one option against the other, and we then get stuck and we get stuck and we get stuck. And when you're not making decisions, there's no momentum. And if there's no momentum, everyone feels it in the organization, that the organization is on hold,
Yeah.
that there's no progress being made.
Right.
So a great leader is someone who is a dealer in hope and who communicates effectively, also knows how to listen well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of leaders love to chat. They want to talk to you. I think the best leader is the one who listens to you.
Do you put stock in like Myers-Briggs and personality tests, things like that? Because I love that stuff. And I actually ask, you know, when I'm really seriously considering someone for a position to
If they have a
fill it out. Yeah, what
Right,
they're
right.
I've found that like 90% of my staff are the exact same,
Right,
which is kind
right,
of
right.
funny. But my ENFJ is considered the leader, right?
Right,
That's our
right.
like the name or whatever. So I wonder, because you're mentioning that leaders like to talk, and the E would suggest that in me. I do have a radio show after all, and I wonder.
You're a talk show
Yeah,
host.
right. Yeah, it's in the title. I do like to talk. I do have to remind myself to slow down and listen and actively listen. Right. Do you find that most leaders are extroverted versus introverted, or does that
Oh,
ever
they
come?
come in all colors, shapes,
Yeah.
and sizes. There are some leaders who don't want to see anybody. They're behind their desk. They call them. So they almost like their office is their hideout. They have the door is closed. You know, there's no open door. There are different leaders that are out there. At the end of the day, that's what separates great companies from not so great companies.
Okay.
Not only who the leader is, but who they bring on board. You know, they say if you
Right.
want to get ahead in life, get the right people beside you.
Yeah.
If you're a great leader, you become attractive to attract and retain talent.
Yeah.
They're not just coming to work for you because they want to make $50,000 or $100,000.
Right.
They're coming to work because they're inspired by you, and they want to grow and learn. And then your responsibility is to launch them bigger, not
Yeah.
smaller, and kind of stuff them into your places, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it is a beautiful thing. Now, the listening, effective listening, requires an open mind, an open heart, and an open will. 3 things. Most humans do not listen that way. They listen to validate what they're thinking. They listen to prove themselves right.
Yeah.
They listen just to pretend that they're listening because let me make them feel like I'm listening to them. That's not listening. True listening is you can feel it. You can tell somebody is listening to you.
I saw something on Facebook or something like that was like, how much time of listening do you spend thinking about your next question or your next point?
Right.
Actually, more your next point than your next question.
Correct.
Right? And I started to become aware of that, and I didn't realize how much I was even doing it. And again, I think it's because I like to keep conversation flowing. So my anxiety would kind of be like, well, if I don't have something to say after this, it might get quiet,
Yeah.
right? So that worry would precede what someone was actually
Right.
sharing with me.
Right.
And I'm not
Right.
being present
Right.
in that moment. And I think, and I'm not trying to be rude, right? It's not intentional necessarily, but it was just a real self-awareness moment for me of how much time we do spend in our own head when someone else is being open
Right.
and sharing with us. So I think there's a lot of value in that. Do you work with teams, or do you mostly work with individuals in that setting?
I would say 70% of my work or 80% of my work is with individuals, and the
Okay.
rest is all teams. There's team trainings that we do. We
Okay.
do team building.
Mm-hmm.
We do facilitation of strategic planning. So there's quite a bit of work in the corporate setting. But I would say 80% of my work is one-on-one with mostly entrepreneurs and small business owners.
Very cool. Speaking of assessments, you mentioned assessments earlier, and I mentioned the Myers-Briggs. Are there certain tools that you do recommend when you're working with someone, for their staff to fill out a personality index or whatever that is? Is there certain things that you do recommend in that setting?
Generally speaking, if I cannot figure someone out, which sometimes happens because they're not very open, then I would definitely request that they go through some assessments of some sort, because I want to get fast results. I want to get to know them really well as soon as possible. But most of the time, if they came to me, they were already ready to be open.
Yeah.
And if they are open, an assessment is not necessary, because I actually can figure them out really quick.
So I think that puts you in a unique position in your work too, because I'm thinking as a therapist, I oftentimes see people because they're in a situation of which they did not choose.
Right.
Whether they're in the hospital, they're in addiction recovery, they're finding themselves having to be relocated to a nursing home or assisted living facility. So I'm meeting people in unfamiliar, sometimes threatening situations
Sure.
that they did not ask for, right? You're in a different position. When you're meeting people, it's because they're seeking
They
you
sought
out.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, once in a while, you get somebody who's been told, like, oh, you got to go see Roy. And they finally say, they've been telling me I got to see you for like an hour a year. And here I am. So what? Who are you? I'm like, uh-oh. However,
Yeah.
my responsibility is in the next 30 minutes is to win them over.
Sure.
To win them over, to see the value in being with me. And if they don't see that value, then really I don't have permission to work with them in a way. So now I want to make sure that I also reiterate, no matter who you are and what your assessment says, you can be someone different. Every human can change. Because if you don't believe in the possibility that somebody can be changed, then why am I working with people, right?
Right.
Now, do they have a desire? Do they have a will?
Sure.
Is their heart into this? And if there is, then I can definitely help them do whatever they want.
Have you ever worked with someone and they came to the realization that this isn't what they wanted?
Oh, yeah. There are attorneys that have been practicing for 15 years. And this particular individual did it only because his family thought that he should be an attorney. And they struggled through the 15 years. They've made money. They've spent $300,000 getting an education, spent 8 years in college, right? And they're still kind of kicking and screaming.
Right.
And eventually they found out what their passion is and they pursued it. And they have been just amazingly happy. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about money. It's really money, happiness, fulfillment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Which is a great transition, because what we're going to be talking about next is the life coaching portion of what you offer. And I mean, I think there's so much crossover, like we've been talking about, between the life
Yes.
coaching executive, because so much of your role as a leader is coming from...
about you.
Is about you, exactly. So stick around. We'll be right back with Roy Assad. Are you a music therapist or part of the music therapy community? If so, we're excited to announce Aria. Aria is a mobile app that provides tools, resources, and community for today's modern music therapist. You can plan, implement, and share music therapy interventions with the community, keep track of your schedule and contacts, and learn from other members in our community section. Best of all, Aria is free. Visit arianow.com to get started today. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com, engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. Whether you are joining us from 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, or on our Facebook Live at facebook.com/Connections by Aria, thank you so much. I did not mention this earlier, but one of my big joys and focus of this program is hearing from you. As much as I love hearing and learning from the guests that we get to have on the show, I love learning from you all as well. So please, at any point, call into the show, 888-565-1470. We just finished up talking about my guest, Roy Assad. Again, thank you so much for being here tonight, Roy. And your involvement with executive coaching. We're going to move on to talk about life coaching. But if you have a question or an experience that you'd like to share, again, call into the show. Check out our Facebook Live video. Leave comments there. We check that on the break. Roy's on Facebook. I'm sure that between the two of us, we would love to interact, hear what your successes are, hear what your challenges are. We are all learning every day, and we can learn from our audience as well, which I just love. I just love. It's part of that, just being a community, right? Being it taking a village, like we were talking about last week. Just social media is kind of a really cool way.
It is phenomenal
to just bring that all together when used positively.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
It is. It's really exciting. I mean, I feel like I've gotten so much more in touch with people who watch or listen to the show when we switch over to Facebook Live, because I don't know who's listening in their car. You know what I mean? I don't know who is even watching from YouTube. But Facebook Live, I see in the moment. You know, I check between breaks. It's so exciting to see people from different, walks of my life, or friends of, family, or family in other countries. Facebook brings it all together.
True.
It's really, really neat. So moving into life coaching, which we talked about before the break, is so connected with this executive coaching. This is really the heart of it, where it starts. It all starts with us, with our core. So I just wonder, and I know that you actually do a whole presentation on this, and if you could share a bit about this with this, is it Get a Life?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. What are the areas of life that you find yourself focusing on when you are doing these individual life coaching sessions?
Well, let me begin by saying that life is simple. It's we who are complicated.
Okay, unpack that a little bit for us.
So life comes at us in a beautiful, clean, obviously there are circumstances in life that occur that with or without our, invitation, if you will. Like, God forbid, you get hit in a car accident. You didn't invite that.
Right.
Maybe somebody was careless. Maybe somebody was texting and driving. Who knows? But dealing with the issues of life itself is simple. It's we who complicate it, which means we have feelings and we hold grudges. We never forget. I'm saying, I'll never forget what you did to me. Well, what is that? What happened? How big was that?
Yeah.
And no matter how big that is, you don't have to. You can always say, I let go of that. So in life, when we deal with executives and or entrepreneurs, you still are dealing with coaching them on life matters, whether it's their family life or their personal life or their spiritual life. And we don't ever push them in one direction or another, but we just help them find what it is,
what that means to
that
them.
beauty of that, because they want to really have a fulfilled life. That's what everyone's purpose is. So we definitely guide them in that sense. And there are keys to a successful life. Obviously, I can go over the steps. Maybe we can cover those. There's about 5 things I would like to talk about.
Yeah, please.
So the first one I actually covered before. That's being complete, getting complete. So in order to get a great life, you must be complete. Complete means everything that was incomplete in your life, whether it's you've been meaning to do something, go do it. If you haven't forgiven someone, go forgive them. Somebody owes you an apology, go ask for it.
You've mentioned this idea of forgiveness or grudge holding several times.
Right.
Is this something that shows up a lot?
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because our feelings were hurt and we begin to be so proud and I can't believe he did that to me. Right? And, I want to, it's funny, it says humans romanticize the past. We have the tendency to make it better than what it really was.
Sure.
We always remember the good things.
Right.
We dramatize the present, like, oh my God, you can't believe what's going on in my life. We just make drama. And we minimize the future. We don't really believe that it's going to be as powerful as it can be or big as it can be. So we get caught in that humanity of who we are. So the great human, the one who really says, he or she says, I am done with what I have been. And what I am up to and what I want to be is so much bigger. I want to be open to greater possibilities. I no longer want to hold grudges. I want to go fix those things that are not working in my life and then just move on. And that's where you launch. It is a phenomenal power. So you get complete. You complete everything. You're organizational. If you're not organized, go get organized. Hire somebody to get organized.
That's me.
Fix everything up in your life that has
Yeah.
been holding you back.
Yeah.
That's called unshackled. You unshackle yourself.
And does that just start with a decision?
It totally emanates from a decision and somebody holding you accountable and walking you through that. Because we as humans, as soon as we make a decision, all kinds of obstacles come in the way.
Right.
They say as soon as you set a goal, obstacles show up. So for example, if I said, oh, I want to get in shape. Well, when can I get in shape? I have a daughter and I got to take her to school and I have so many. So that's obstacles. So
Right.
all of a sudden, as soon as you make a decision, obstacles show up. Obstacles are nothing more than a hindrance. And if you can know how to address those obstacles, then you stick with the decision, obviously.
That's wonderful. And so you keep going. Keep going with your fun. I'm just like kind of, I'm being present.
So,
I'm learning from you.
so get complete. The second one is to get fed. Because if you want to grow, you have to learn more. You have to experience more, whether it's TEDx or online or getting into seminars, go to conferences, don't be by yourself. There's so many meetups. If you really want to meet people and learn, it's all over the place.
Yeah. I feel like our area especially. We were talking about this last week too, this coming from an extremely rural farm-based area. I felt hungry for these connections, these opportunities for networking, and within that space found, within church or the Rotary or whatever it was. But here it's like a candy store for
Amazing.
networking. It really is. There's so many positive things to be involved in. Lots of times you can be around opportunities to get out and meet people, and it's not always a positive association. But there's really ways to give back and be in a meaningful interaction with community.
Right, right. And, listen, life gets in the way and we make excuses. We've got work. We have work to do.
Yeah.
We've got emails to finish. So basically, we kind of put all that in ahead of everything else and we neglect learning. But if you're not growing in your knowledge, you're not going to be as useful.
Right.
The third item, and I have done this it's funny, I spoke for the Palm Beach Chamber.
Okay.
They gave me 8 minutes to talk about the get a life.
Uh-huh.
So the third one is to get gotten. You may not have heard of this before. To get gotten means, you get me? When you get me, if I'm not gotten, I'm not happy.
Gotcha.
So if my spouse, my life partner, my business partner, my employees, my direct reports, if they don't get me, I feel not gotten. And therefore, I am not having a great life.
Yeah.
So in order to get gotten, that means you have to have these fierce conversations. These are very hard conversations of saying, you don't get me. So let me sit down and talk with you. Now, you're going to do it beautifully. You're not going to do it in a forceful way. But the concept is go get gotten. Go get gotten, because the more gotten you are, the more you thrive, because then you are being yourself. They appreciate you for who you are, and they're not going to keep judging you and cornering you and putting you in that box,
Sure.
because that is not where you belong. You belong in a much bigger place.
What does that conversation look like?
It's beautiful.
How do you begin that?
So we coach people on these and they call it being authentic instead of being honest. So if somebody said to you, "Can I be honest with you?" all of a sudden they say,
Uh-oh, yeah.
Have you not been honest all this time?
Yeah.
And being honest, that means you're gonna really kind of shave me, if you
Yeah.
So authentic is telling the truth in a loving way. So go be a truth teller.
Yeah.
Share the truth.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love that.
Was there a signal that we need to stop?
Oh my gosh, 2 minutes, Roy. How did
Okay.
this happen?
So
You saw the look of panic like
Yeah.
going across my face, like, wait, I really thought we had like 15 minutes left. I'm because I'm being present.
that's right. It went by
I didn't
so
look
fast.
at the clock.
So the fourth one is get over it. There's a lot of stuff that we need to get over, and a lot of us hold on to these things. And the longer you hold on, the more bitterness you
Yeah.
get into, and what have you. And
The
if
forgiveness piece again.
yeah, it's forgiveness, but get over also the failures.
Yeah.
Because if like for example, if you're a boxer and you got knocked down, you didn't go out, but
Yeah.
you either get up and get back in the ring, or you're out. So
Yeah.
get back in the ring. The faster you do that, the better off you are. So get over it. The next one is get connected. Connectivity is key. They say even the Lone Ranger had Tonto. You're not there by yourself.
Yeah.
Don't ever think that you got to do it all by yourself. People are willing to help. Ask for help. And lastly, get going. I mean, you can have all the knowledge in the world. We can feel so much but do so little.
Yeah.
What they say is when all is said and done, more is said than done. So go be a doer, not just a sayer, right? We say a lot of stuff.
That's
Just be a
fabulous.
doer. Yeah.
I love it. So much I've learned from just looking at your quotes on your Facebook page. Honestly, I mean, I just spent like today, like, oh, I'm saving that. All right, to speak to your point of getting connected, how do people get connected to you if anyone wants to
The
reach
best
you?
is to reach me through email.
Okay.
And that's rassad, that's RASSAD, at hcgnow.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Roy. It's
so
such a
great
pleasure
to
to talk
be
to you.
with
I
you.
hope you'll come back another
I would
time.
love
Feel
to.
like we have a lot more
There's so
ground
much to
cover.
talk about. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening to Connections. We hope you enjoyed today's program and discover new ways to bring creativity into your home or place of work. If you have any questions for our host, Bree, or today's guest, please email them at bree@pbmti.com or call at 561-747-9944. Thank you for sharing the music with us.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.